Everyone, we will be discussing our part 2 of the demand concepts, the demand schedule, and the demand curve. What we are going to do for this part of this chapter is we are going to use now the concepts from the basic algebra to demand I mean to compute for the quantity demand. Okay, so let us start. So I have prepared a simple activity for us to do, for today. Again, we are using the concepts, from our basic algebra. So our first requirement is to identify the or graph, the demand curve on a graph. Ayan. To plot, I mean the demand curve on a graph using these coordinates or these values. So we have values for quantity demanded and the values for price. Now, if you notice, nakikita na natin agad dito yung law of demand. No? As the price goes lower, ayan, the quantity goes higher. Also, if the price goes higher, tingnan nyo, pataas ng pataas yung price, you notice that the quantity demanded also decreases. Ayan. So again, let's try to plot this into a graph. So I'm not sure if I have shown you last meetings kung paano ba mag-graph dito using Excel. No? So all you have to do is to highlight the data. And let's go to insert. And dito we have a section for graphs. Let's select ito, scatter graph. Then let's click itong scatter graph with straight lines. Okay? So yan. So our graph is automatically produced or generated. So let's just change the title. So this is now our demand curve. Okay. Let's go back to our law of demand. This side represents the price, while this side naman represents the quantity demanded. So as you can see, yung line natin na downward line from left to right, which means that a change, ayan, a change in price will also have a significant change in the quantity demanded. So let's say dito tayo sa vertical. Yan, if the price is 10 pesos, nandito yung ating, yes, nandito yung ating quantity demanded, 50. But as soon na bumababa ang ating price from 8 pesos, 6 pesos, etc., our quantity demanded is increasing. So price really plays a big part when it comes to demand. The lower the price, the higher the demand. Ayan. So that is our demand curve. Okay, so let's go to the requirement number 2. Let's try to determine the equation of the line. Okay, so we have coordinates here. We only need 2 sets of coordinates. Let's pick this 2 in the middle. Okay, and so we have 4, 80, and we have 6, 70. Yeah. Okay. First step for determining the equation of the line, let's identify the value of the slope. So I'll write the equation here. Oops. Yeah. Delta y over delta x. So that's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, so what is our slope here? Let's copy, paste. Y2, so that is 70 minus 80. And we have 6 minus 4. So our slope is, so 70 minus 80, that is negative 10, divided by 6 minus 4, that is 2. Okay, so m is equal to, para sure, let's compute. Negative 10 divided by 2. Yeah. So our slope is negative 5. Again, if we try to interpret this slope, no, this is a downward slope from left to right. If the slope is negative, downward from left to right. Okay, now let's identify the equation. So again, we are going to modify this equation. No? All right. So, tanggalin natin C2. Yan. Okay, so we have the value for the slope. We have negative 5. Negative 5 equals y minus y1. This is our y1 and x1, 80, divided by x minus 4. Okay. So again, let's multiply both equations by x minus 4. Ito na naman, shapes. Oops. Let's put a bracket. Okay. Multiply natin by x minus 4. So ano na ang kalalabasan nito? We have negative 5 x minus 4 is equal to y minus 80. Oops. Again natin na ganyan. So, this is cancelled. Kaya y minus 40 siya. Cancelled yan. Okay, so negative 5 times x, that is negative 5x. Negative 4 times negative 5, negative times negative, that is positive 20 is equal to y minus 80. Oops, lagyan natin ng pen. Alright, so let's transpose this one on the other side. So we have negative 5x. Tapos ilipat natin din si y sa kabila. So minus y is equal to negative 80 minus 20. I always forgot. Alright, if you notice, no, all areas are negative. So what we can do in this equation is let's divide the whole equation into negative 1. So bakit natin siya i-divide by negative 1? So we can cancel all these negative values. So ano mangyayari dyan? We have now 5x plus y is equal to 80 plus 20. 5x plus y is equal to 100. So here is now our equation. Okay? Ayan. So we have now identified the equation for this set of data for quantity demanded and quantity price. Okay, zoom natin. Alright, so the next step now is let's identify the equation of quantity demanded. Now, for this step, it's very simple. All we have to do is to convert the equation we have computed earlier into the quantity demanded equation. Ayan. So, let's use y-intercept form. Okay? Ayan. It is very similar to the y-intercept form, so let's convert. So, this is now y is equal to, transpose natin 5x to the other side, negative 5x plus 100. So here is now our y-intercept form. Y will now represent our QD or the quantity demanded. Alright? Wait, ibaliktad pa natin para mas makita natin. So, pag-exchange lang natin yung 100 and negative 5x. Ayan. So, compare natin dito, y is now your QD. Okay? A is your 100 minus 5. 5 kasi is the B. Then, X will now represent the price. Okay, so this is now our quantity demand equation. Okay? Again, repeat ko lang, it is very similar to our y-intercept form. We only change y into QD and x into P, the price. Okay? So we can move on now to our next step, step number 4. Yan. For step number 4, we can now check if our equation is correct. So let's put our equation here. Okay. Same, 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 same. Let's see if the quantity demanded is correct. Okay. So if price is 0, again, x is p. Palitan ko lang to. X is p. What would be the quantity demanded or your QD? Okay. So let's compute. Ayan. So QD is equal to 100 minus 5 times 0. Of course, 5 times 0 is 0. Therefore, our quantity demanded is 100. Okay, how about this one? So, 5, let's substitute P sa 2. So, that is 5 times 2, 10. 100 minus 10 is 90. About this one, 5 times 4, that is 20. 100 minus 20 is 80. For 6, 5 times 6, ilan yun? 30. 100 minus 30 is 70. 5 times 8, that is 40. 100 minus 40 is 60. And 5 times 10 is 50. 100 minus 10, minus 50, I mean, is 50. Ayan. So let's see if this equation, quantity demand equation, is correct. If we will go back to our first set of data, ayan, the quantity demanded is 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, and 50. So our computed values are 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, and 50 as well. Which means that our computed na quantity demand equation earlier is correct. Okay? So, saan ba natin gagamitin tong equation? So, we can now ask ourselves, no, what if we ask prices or quantity demanded that is not in the schedule? Okay? We can use this formula to determine those values. So, here are some examples. I have prepared 4 questions here na pwede nating sagutan using our quantity demand equation. Starting dito sa una. Okay, first question here, if the price of the commodity in consideration rose to 12 pesos. So, ang given value natin dito is the price. Sabi is 12 pesos. What would be the expected quantity demanded? So, what we are asked to compute is for the value of quantity demanded. Again, we can use this formula. So, let's substitute. QD is equal to 100 minus 5. Itong price natin, which is yung 12. Na-zoom ko lang ng konti. Ayan. Tut. Bakit nga? Ayan. So, ilan ba ang 5 times 12? 60. Ayan. So, QD is equal to 100 minus 60. Therefore, our quantity demanded is 40 units. Okay? Let us not be confused, no? When we say quantity demanded, it should be in units. While for the price, of course, it should be in price. So if we will try to interpret this computation, what would be the expected quantity? If the price of the commodity will go to 12 pesos, the quantity demanded will only be 40 units. So it is still true with our law of demand. As the price goes up, the quantity demand goes down. Okay? How about dito sa number 2? Let's try to answer this number 2 using the same equation. If the quantity demanded at a particular time was 30 units, okay, so the given now is QD, 30 units, what would be the price of the commodity? Okay, so again, let's use this equation. What we are trying to compute is for the value of the price if the quantity demanded is 30 units. So using this formula, the given data is 30 times 100 minus 5p. Okay? Ang solve natin is si p. So let us transpose 5p on the other side. Si quantity naman, si 30 on the other side. So we have 5p is equal to 100 minus 30. So that is 5p is equal to 100 minus 30, that is 70. Let's divide the whole equation by 5. Therefore, our price should be, compute na natin dito. That is 70 divided by 5, 14. So our price should be 14 pesos. Okay, if the quantity demanded is 30 units. Alright, I hope you understand no, on how we are going to utilize yung ating quantity demand equation to determine the price at the same time the quantity demanded of a specific commodity or product. Okay, what if may butal? Try nga natin to. Supposing the price was only 6 pesos and 50 cents, let us try to compute the quantity to be demanded by the consumers. Let's repeat the process. The given data is the price, which is 650. What we are going to compute is the quantity demanded. Let us substitute again. So that is QD is equal to 100 minus 5 times the price, which is 650. So, ilan nga ba yan? Let's compute nga. 5 times 650. So, that is 32.5. Ito yung kagandahan ng Excel, no? Very convenient when you are computing. Alright, so our QD now is equal to, ayan. Okay, 100, 32.50. So our quantity demanded is now 67.50. In this case, of course, since wala namang butal na consumer, so we have to round up the demand. Okay? So our QD is now 58. Yan, we have to round up. Yan. Kasi there's no such thing as 0.50 na demand. No? Undecided, of course. It should be to buy or not to buy. So our quantity demand is 58 if the price is 6 pesos and 50 cents. Let us not forget the measurement, no? QD always in units. Price always in peso. Okay, so last one, ito. If the quantity demanded at a particular time was 88 units, what would be the likely price of the commodity? Okay. The given here is QD, 88 units. What we are required to compute is the price. Okay, so 88 is equal to 100 minus 5p. Yeah. So let us transpose 5p on the other side, 88 naman on the other side. So 5p is equal to 100 minus 88. Okay. So ilan ba ang 100 minus 88? That is 12. 5p. 100 is minus 12. Sorry. Dapat automatic na siya na 12. Let's divide by 5. So that is 2.4. Price now is 2.40 pesos. Okay. If the quantity demanded is 88, price is only 2.40 pesos. Again, if we'll go back to our law of demand, if the price is lower, in this example, naging 2 pesos and 40 centavos lang, the demand is higher. 88 units ang dinedemand. Okay? Going back in our schedule and the demand curve, ayan, we can only expect or experience a 100% demand if our price is actually 0. Yan yung sinasabi ko nung last natin, no? Na hindi porket meron tayong supply, there would always be a demand. Demand is the willingness to buy, willingness of the consumer to buy of a specific product, and the number one determinator that determines the demand is always the price. So it can only be consumed 100% if our price is 0. But of course, in economics, hindi naman tayo na pwede na magbibigay na lang ng free na products, no? As much as possible, there should be also a profit in part of the producers, suppliers. At doon tayo nagkaka-conflict minsan when it comes to consumers. It's always the price. If the consumer is not willing to buy a specific product on the price set by the supplier, dun hindi nagmamatch. Okay? That's why sometimes, again, yung example ko nung last meeting natin, di ba? In Benguet, ang dami pa rin na nasasayang na mga gulay. Yan, kasi hindi po nagmimit yung demand and yung supply. Doon tayo nagkakaroon ng overproduction at na hindi willing bilhin nung consumer side yung price. Okay? Yung zero, I guess you have already experienced this din to, di ba? Sometimes, there are farmers na nagbibigay na lang ng gulay kaysa masira. Doon natin na i-experience yung 100% demanded at zero price. Yan. But sometimes, hindi nila ma-dispose rin lahat-lahat yan to the point that they have to, yun nga, kailangan nilang itapon yung gulay. Lugi. No? Kaya on the part of the supplier, they also have to consider the optimum amount on the quantity of, to the supply to be produced. It is something na we will discuss once we go to the supply concepts. Pero dito muna tayo sa part ng demand. Alright, so that is how you compute for the values of the quantity demanded or the price using the quantity demand equation. So, thank you for listening. Again, yung ating requirement, no, you know naman what to do after watching this video. Okay? So, I'll see you on our next or the part 3. Meron pa tayong part 3 on the demand concepts. I'll see you. Goodbye.